What a way to, I guess, end a Monday, start a week. I'm CrunkChocolate. I'm here with my show, bro, Thom Bomb, but we have a special guest of Chopping It Up, the homie once again. It's been a while. I hit him up. I was like, bro, it's been too long. We got to get back. Got to get you back on. And here he is, Dillon Meehan. What's up, my guy? Meehan. Hold on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I say
you got
it wrong.
You got it.
Yes.
You got it. Pretend the H isn't there. You're good.
Yes. There we go. Cool. How are you, friend? How's it going in the Pacific part of the country?
It's been great. I think the first time I was on, I was in a random like Airbnb in Big Bear, and this time I almost took this from a random Airbnb in Sequoia. Fortunately, I was able to get home in time from Thanksgiving. But no, things are great. It's sunny. It was 70 degrees. I can't know if I can speak that for for your part of the country.
Yeah, you're talking to two Midwest residents that's just like, oh, that's rough.
Yeah, I would probably bite somebody for 70-degree weather right now.
Mm-hmm. Full on Mike Tyson chomp.
1,000% gladly take a little bite, chew on some skin and bathe in the sun. Oh my God, it'd be so nice. Oh man, this is the Midwest crazy. Like the sads already hit. Talking about attacking people for some damn sun. This is the things that I will go through. I hate to see me come March.
Sorry, Charlie is viciously attacking me right now, and I'm trying to get him out of the way. Sorry.
No worries. I said that I needed to take a bite out of somebody for some sun. Helping me out, I guess. But we're here to have you on. It's always good to get your perspective, your thoughts on current city goings, and boy, are there's plenty for us to catch up.
What do you mean? Is something going on? I know I posted that I've taken some time away, but I'm confused. Are things not good?
Are you gonna tell him, Tom?
I mean, I could, but like, I don't want to be aggressively sad on a Monday night. I just went through Monday. Why would I do that?
Oh, but before we actually get into all of the craziness with City, I would like to start somewhere nice, somewhere fun. And with this, it is, what is something we're going to do an overrated and underrated about football? And it can just be anything and anything and everything under the umbrella of football. You can even just go way out of bounds with it. What is something that you think is overrated about football?
Overrated. I can give you underrated real quick. Overrated is going to take me an extra second, but underrated I can wholeheartedly say, and I don't think it is something that especially like European soccer fans realize, the lack of interruptions in commercials, that like the never allowed timeouts. Fans, I want like when the Super League was announced, I want that level of protest if they start to put any type of in-game commercials into the sport. It is the main reason as a kid as like why I began to love soccer, is because if you watch basketball, if you watch football, it's just such stop-start. And that is the thing that for me, it is easily the most like, I mean, there's the whole community aspect, things like that. You see that a little bit in college football in America. That's like some similarities, but just the constant action, 45 minutes break, 45 minutes. It is so unique to anything that you really see in American sports. The only thing that I can think is kind of similar is like Olympic basketball, because FIBA rules are just different. And that's like why I feel like Olympic basketball, obviously the competition normally isn't as good. The world's getting better at the sport, which is allowing, I think like this past Olympics was phenomenal because of that. But cherish that. That is something that American owners in particular will try to implement into this sport. And for European fans, you have to, I mean, we will try to protest, but I'm 5,000 miles away, so I don't really have much of a say here. But I will make an angry Blue Sky post. Don't say tweets anymore. I'll make an angry Blue Sky post and about it, but that's not going to do much.
Yeah, I'm with you 1,000%. What was it? It was one of these matches. It might have been the NWSL final, but it was a random one of those games where I was watching, and during like an injury, a water timeout, they did the picture in picture, and I just went, no, no, no. Like, I
Throwing
don't
tomatoes at the TV screen.
like, bro. They are gonna find some way to get their money, and it's frustrating. It's just like, bro, just tell them to sit down for 45 minutes. I don't know what to tell you. You can't make hand over foot cash for this 45 minutes. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
They will try.
They will definitely try, because like, I mean, you even see, like, I think maybe not I don't think it's Premier League that I don't think NBC does it, but I think Paramount and CBS do it. Well, they'll do a picture in picture for Champions League, and like that shit is so annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to see the Geico Gecko kick a ball around while they tend to a player down on the pitch.
Especially because, like, if you remember from the Euros, when like American companies try to do soccer ads, like even Geico, who like, look, I mean, I will hand it to them, obviously they're good ads, good marketing. I'm sorry. The soccer ones are terrible. They're truly terrible. Like the ones that are running to the Euros nonstop, it was actually awful. And I'd rather just run a regular ad. Don't try to like awkwardly make it a part of my sport, which you probably do not understand, and you're just trying to find a way to make it somewhat relevant through whatever trope that you want. It's awful.
Olays, 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 olays.
Yes, exactly. Please stop. Please. I can't do it. I can't.
That commercial, I'm just like, oh no.
It's like seared into my brain, and I can't handle it.
I mean, didn't Messi get enough of the bag already? Like, haven't we established that?
Oh, okay, well, I have we given you enough time to figure out what is your overrated?
Overrated. I'd love to hear y'all's, by the way, but overrated. There's a lot of sanctimonious, I would say. I think it's more of an England thing. I just like I think that most English fans think the Premier League is just the end all be all and think very little of any other league. To an extent, I get it. To another extent, it is like people act like if you do something in Italy, it is completely irrelevant. I think there's levels to it. I think it's like there are examples of players that maybe they cannot cut it out in one league and then they succeed in another. However, that isn't like to take away if another player is succeeding. I think that might be also the Irish in me trying to fight back any like British superiority. But
he said Lizzie's in a box, bitch. That is exactly what he said.
But like, we get it. The Premier League is like they are the best, but like reel it in a little bit. That's what I would say for overrated. He says, as a writer of a Premier League club, who has a part of a YouTube show for a Premier League club on a channel with about mostly Premier League soccer, amongst other things. But
yeah, I'm with you though. We same us, but I've definitely been trying to enjoy more of just other leagues, and there is a long list of players who have left the Premier League very recently to other leagues and have thrived. And I refuse to say that it's because the Premier League was too tough. A lot of people like Rodri, he just did an interview and they were like, what's the differences? And he was just like, yo, the Premier League, yes, it's faster, it's stronger, but there's not tactics so much. Like people really aren't thinking, they're just running into each other. And sometimes there are people who need a game where there is like tactics, and you will have a manager who can see the beauty in your style and can put you in a tactic that fits you better.
Dillon, since you posed the question back to us, I'm going to say underrated Liga MX Femenil. There are not enough people in the soccer space as a whole that understand how crazy that league is. Like all you need to do is take a look at the second leg of the Apertura final. Bonkers, absolutely bananas. Went to
I mean,
pins
as
and
someone that lives
everything.
in Los Angeles, I can regular Liga MX fans are insane. So I can, I mean, if it's, I can imagine, but I didn't, honestly, I wasn't even aware.
Yeah. Liga MX Femenil, probably one of the most underrated leagues in all of the world.
I learned something.
And overrated, it's interesting that you say like the sanctimony of English fans, because it bleeds over into the WSL. And I know that that's wild. Me as someone who participates in a podcast about the specifically about the WSL, it just kind of bleeds over, and like people don't understand. Like Marta said that the NWSL is the best league in the world, and I'm gonna take. I mean, whatever. Yeah, she clearly knows nothing. You know, she's just Marta. She's just the goat. You know, so if Marta says that, I'm gonna take Marta's word.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like asking.
You're just here,
but I don't know. I don't know. I will tell you what is overrated, because I've been getting a lot of it from these Hammarby fans, is this whole difference in culture. That's what they're all just saying. Why I don't understand why Bunny got the card. It's just like, no, I understand the bullshit between it, but it's just
I recognize misogynoir when I see it. Just gonna throw that out there.
Like y'all don't do it better. Like, you guys are hooligans. You just also are thin skinned at the same time. Like we see you guys rage and start fights. Like I've heard about Hammarby fans. Like you guys aren't great sometimes. So it's just like, for you to act like Bunny walking towards you guys and loosely putting her arms out, that deserved a card. It's just like, bro, like where's the rivalry? Where's the tension? Like, we're not getting any of that with that. Is you guys want just sterilized football? I don't know. It's just the fans were upset about being outshone by the player on the pitch. I don't know. It was weird. It was very frustrating. So
I'm gonna be honest, I'm totally out of the loop on this. I feel like a terrible City fan with it. I pay very little attention to the women's team, and I don't claim to be. Like, it's just like I have so much time, and I know that Bunny Shaw scores a ton of goals, and that's all I really got.
Hey, and that's all that matters.
Listen, she scored 2 against Hammarby, and we advanced to the quarter. We advanced to the UWCL quarterfinals. That's really all you need to know. That's the good stuff.
We're doing great. Yeah. And let's see, what is underrated? I do think what is underrated is the connection that football can bring with somebody. Like, you can truly you can walk into like a supporters bar and there's football on, and you don't know any of these people, but you at least have this one thing in common. Like, it doesn't matter how awkward it could be. Worst case, you can just be like, beautiful pass, huh? And then boom, now you guys can chat for however long you want to keep this conversation up and do what you want with that. Yeah, I've been able to make many random friends just because of a silly post or a video or some things like that. And I do believe that is underrated, even though that is pretty important to, the whole football community.
No, absolutely. I work in sales, and so a lot of times I work with people with like English maybe is not their first language if they barely even speak it. But like, if I'm working with like someone who's like Turkish, all I say is like Galatasaray or Fenerbahce. Immediately, like everything changes. They're just like they're all in on the conversation. Or if I'm working with someone they're Argentinian and like I ask, I'll just say River or Boca. It is like immediately just like we're best friends. We don't even really understand each other's languages, but we're best friends.
A dude came into my job today with the United jacket on. and I gave him shit for 5 minutes, and he was like, "Well, y'all lost 6 in a row." Blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, and we're still ahead of you in the table. Look at how that works.
Yeah.
Look at how that works.
Oh yeah, it's so great. Oh man. But also what's not great is that 6
Speaking of what's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, the state of Manchester City. Like, Dillon, what are your thoughts in the clubs? Just like, well, you don't have to give. Obviously, we can get as deep into the conversation or keep it as shallow as you want to, my guy. But what are your thoughts?
I if you remember from the last time I was on, like, I'm a serial optimist. I'm trying to think. I was on January, probably like almost say like a year ago. Regardless, both times that I've come on, City haven't, I don't think, been in a really bad stretch of form. I don't believe. This obviously it's the worst that City have been in like 15 years. It's like either since like 2008, 2010, something like that. Basically, their worst run of forms, the worst run of form in Guardiola's career. Obviously, it's terrible. What do people expect with no Rodri, with De Bruyne barely fit, whatever's been going on with Doku and his quad? You know, Grealish has been in and out. You know, Savinho's been in and out. Kovacic has been in and out. Foden, no one will say what's going on with Foden, but there is something going on with Foden. It seems like it might be more mental than physical, but no one really knows, at least from like a public standpoint. Sam Lee even hinted on it most recently. Like, there's so much disarray at the club. Yes, it is a, like, I shouldn't think that disarray. There's just a lot of players that are not fully available to play. What do you expect Guardiola to do? Yes, sure, they should have signed a replacement for Rodri. Yes, sure, there should have been like some other depth that was, you know, signed. I don't know how much that would have changed. The sheer number of unavailable players. Am I allowed to swear on this?
Fuck yeah.
No. Yes. Okay.
Fuck yes.
There's a quote from a Colts coach from, like, to quote American football. Like, you're talking about Peyton Manning, and he goes, "If 18 is down, we're fucked, and we don't practice fucked." And to some way, like, what do you, when all of your best players are not available, like, you can't just have 100 million pound players that are sitting on the bench ready to play. Yes, there could have been another player. Maybe it could have been Bruno G. Maybe it could have been, you know, Adam Morton. We're going to talk about, you know, probably later potential players who the club might go for in January. But the sheer number of injuries and fitness issues, it's insurmountable. It's probably going to keep happening. We might win against Forest, you know, might grab a few more wins. Who knows against United? But like, the goal now is a Champions League qualification. And I'm an optimist. Like, even when they had lost like 3 or 4 in a row, I'm like, I still think this is doable. This is normal. I posted the story I wrote last year when they were like 6 points back behind Liverpool. I was like, this is normal. This happens. Now it's way worse than that. But what do you expect? I'm not fussed. I'm not fussed. I don't care. I shouldn't say that. I do care. But like, what do we expect that's going to happen? I'm not going to like abuse Kyle Walker online just because he's not playing well. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. With this streak, it's kind of tough because you get the mad, you get the frustrated, but like the episode that just came out, I named it Groundhog's Day because I just feel like we're just saying the same things, frustrated about the same things, giving the same. So it's just really tough. Where now I really am. I'm just like, hey, we just gotta wait. Once we get the people back, and we're seeing it. We saw once Daku and Savio got on the pitch, and players who actually play those positions in those positions. We looked better. Right, sure, we weren't able to score, but things flowed better. We felt more dangerous, and that is what I want to see. If we can't win, just look better. Just play better. Yeah.
So Dillon, do you think it's like a combination of players not being available and players not performing well? Because I mean, I would probably rate Kyle Walker and Rico during this stretch of matches at best a 4
Yeah.
out of 10. And like those are two players that like are available and are fully fit but are not performing well.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Rico's played more football, I feel like, than he's played. I don't know the numbers. I should have looked it up before coming on here. But I feel like Rico has played more, professional minutes than he has at any other point in his career. And he's playing week after week after week, and he's not used to that yet. And I love Rico Lewis. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player. Physicality is not his one, his one major weakness. And I just think he has played so much. He was really struggling against Liverpool, just so many times giving the ball away, like just carrying it into like 2 or 3 defenders and getting it picked off. Walker, I have been a Walker defender until this season. It's rough, man. It's sad. I can't defend his off the pitch issues. I would a lot of times defend his on the pitch issues, but this has been another level of just he looks past it. I hope, if Sheffield come up, I would love for him to go to Sheffield next season. Little swan song. It's really sad. I don't think it's purely injuries or players not being available, but I definitely feel like that has a lot to do with it, whether it's DS, Stones. Apparently Stones is going to be out for a significant amount of time. Sam Lee had just mentioned that on the most recent Let Me Talk podcast. De Bruyne can't play a full 90. Doku hasn't been able to. I think it's just been a total cluster. The thing, if you think of, the last, like, I don't know, that brief, like 15, 20-minute window in the second half against Liverpool. And I would even say the first 10 minutes against Tottenham, City were fantastic. That was some of the best I've seen City play. Yeah. And then the moment Haaland missed those 2 chances in the opening 10 minutes against Tottenham, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I was just like, as soon as the second miss happened, I was like, all right, sick. Tottenham are going to score in the next play, and like 30 seconds later, Madison gets that tap in. It's just, I personally feel that it is just a waiting game. If I have to be everyone on, City fandom's therapist, it's time to practice some radical acceptance. This is just kind of what the situation is going to be until players can get fit. And there's no reason getting this upset about it. We've won 4 Premier Leagues in a row in 6 and 7 years. There's going to be a down year. Guess what?
Somebody's going to get in the comments and say, Dillon is weaponizing therapy in sports, and I don't like it. I'm not saying it's going to be me, but somebody's going to say it.
Look, the last time City had an injury-riddled season and weren't able to get replacements over the line was 2019-2020, and there were already a ton of comparisons before this terrible run of form to that season. And then City won 4 Premier League titles in a row. So, like, everyone, let's just take a little bit of a breath. It's going to be a down season. City most likely are not going to win the title unless Liverpool have some crazy injury crisis, which I don't expect to happen. The goal is Champions League qualifying. Maybe players come in January. I doubt many players, if any, come in January. And in the summer, as long as they feel good about 115, I think there's going to be a huge influx of players. That's where we're at. Sorry.
So do you feel like on top of qualification, like the Champions League season that we are in now, like that we need to, like, because I mean, are we even in the 8 right now? I don't even know.
No, I think they're outside, and I think basically City have to win out. Essentially, City have to win out. Yes. And I think that one of the games is against Juventus and then PSG. Look, I think they're probably going to end up having to play in the playoff, which is fantastic. That's just going to be even more games for this, injury-riddled squad to play. I think they'll get out of it. I trust the quality of the players that they have, and that they're getting more players back. Oscar Bob's going to have to hit the ground running. He's going to have to look as good as he did in the summer, and to kind of help propel this team. But I don't expect much from the Champions League either. I don't think this is like a Real Madrid type of situation where we're just like a zombie team that just like can't be killed. I don't expect that. The transition, defense is so bad. Like, it's just terrible. Teams play through City so easily. So unless Pep can find some way to figure that out, I don't think Champions League will be much better. Maybe the quarters, maybe semis if we get like a favorable draw, but I don't expect much from that either.
Yeah, City sit in 17th place right now.
That sounds terrible, but you could tell me that like 17 to 10 is separated by like 3 points.
17th to 4th is separated by 3.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
So basically, if Feyenoord never happened, the City would be like potentially in like
Basically.
sixth.
Like goal difference is gonna become a big thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm okay with if we end up in the play-in match. Yes, it's not great, but I if that's the worst, that could be the kick in the ass needed. And if worst case, if they get knocked out, now we know. Instead of having to deal with getting into the quarterfinals and having to do 2 legs with a broken down team that we know can do it.
Yeah.
We will see. It is what it is. I'm just waiting. And I want to move on to January, but it's funny because I'm actually kind of annoyed about this conversation only because it seems to be like City fans pacifier subject conversation. Like it's just all anybody seems to be talking about is just like, what are we going to do in January? Who are we bringing in? Blah blah. Because we don't want to sit in this ickiness that is this losing streak, and I understand completely. But what? Let's start here. What we know we need to bring in players, but how confident are you in City going to bring in players? Like,
I'm trying to think, who have City bought since Laporte? Who have City bought in January? Jesus came in January, but he was bought in the spring. Same thing with Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez came in January, but was not bought in January. I can't remember since Laporte, the last time a player has been bought in January. And I think the problem is because City are so bad, they have no negotiating room, none whatsoever. So their hope is maybe a player from the Spanish league that has like a release clause that's obtainable, maybe. So I don't know what Zubamendi's release clause is, but I mean he wanted to stay at Liverpool, or sorry, didn't want to go to Liverpool, and he wanted to stay at Sociedad. Maybe City are able to get him. To be honest, I don't watch a lot of Real Sociedad matches. I don't know how good he is. So I will just have to like trust people that are smarter than me that say that he's a great player. But it's not like they don't move often in January. So and I'm scared about it. I don't know. It seems reactionary. They have to get someone in, but it's not like the club to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about like what Pep was a 6, so like that's the hardest position in his system to learn how to play. We saw how long it took Rodri to adjust to that. So like you're gonna bring somebody new in to like maybe take that over. Like
a league they've never been in.
Yes.
Tough.
Yes.
Yeah. It stresses me out, the idea of bringing somebody in. Akanji was the other person, but again,
Akanji didn't he come in? Wasn't he like late?
He was a late summer window signing.
Yeah.
The season had already started, but the window wasn't closed.
Yeah. Because that was like a random. It's like, what? We signed who?
Yes.
For what? Yeah.
We're just gonna have to pay whatever. And Zubamendi, I like him. He's very talented. He's not afraid of the physicality, but he doesn't have the height or size of Rodri. He's kind of just like a little shit house almost.
He's listed as 5'11".
Is he?
I feel like a Spanish 5'11" could be a little short.
Yeah,
I feel like
I see him. And I'm not saying he's not like tall, but he doesn't. And I believe he's like 23, 24. So like, I don't think he's gonna have a growth spurt. Is what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I don't know. He'd be great. He seems like a very talented player, technically gifted, good in small spaces. Yeah, like I see why people like him. And release clause. I don't know. And even like Ederson, he's another person. He has the size. He's a gritty energy, but he doesn't have a high ceiling. Like I think Zubamendi has a higher ceiling. I think it could potentially take him longer to make the adjustment. Man, nobody.
Yeah, the only other players that I can really think of, and this is more of like kind of pie in the sky scenario, but with how much Palace and Newcastle have been struggling, I think it, in some ways, it's like for Newcastle more so, it's like, hey, they're not going to make Champions League. Maybe they need to find more money. Maybe Bruno becomes available. And that's like a real, like, we're talking like FIFA career mode type of like thinking on this. Like, I don't think that City are going to be dropping 100 million to bring a player like that in January. If Palace weren't struggling as much as they were, I do think that Adam Wharton would be an option, but they need points, and I just can't imagine right now that they're just going to be willing to let a player like that leave.
They need him to win.
Yeah, but they're not winning now. They're right above. Really.
But that's why, I mean, like there's hundreds of millions of reasons, literally, why they would not get rid of him, which sucks. I mean, it makes it really tough. But I would love for City to try to kick those tires. If I was a Palace fan and we're fighting relegation, and I'm watching Adam Wharton get shipped to City,
losing it. Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, no, I'm crazy, and I would understand. Bruno, same thing with Bruno. It doesn't look like they're gonna get in Champions League. They'll be lucky if they get Europa. It's one of those things they can either get rid of these players for a good price in January or have to sell them on the low in the summer. So it's just like how bad do they need that money? And I think Newcastle might need that money more than they're letting out. Yeah. Okay. Man. I'm just not really looking forward to it because whatever, then they don't bring anybody in, and everybody's just been waiting for January and nothing happens.
Radical acceptance.
Even way more head loss from people because that's all they've been waiting for these last 2 months. Talking about January. Ugh. Okay, Pep.
Oh wait. One more name.
Yes, please.
Do you bring Frimpong? Bring Frimpong back.
Oh, don't tease me. I want it so bad. I just don't think I'm ever. I've been banging on that door for so long. It's too good. Like it feels like it's too good to be true, and I would love for it to happen. I would be curious to see honestly how he would fit, just because he's essentially a winger. You know what I mean?
I think I would play him as such based off of the fact that you really only right now have 3 functional ringers on the squad.
Yeah. And I just feel like the other thing as an aside, I feel like Akanji, they need to bring back the Akanji right back. Like, I think we just need to go back to that treble kind of defense system. And instead of Stone stepping up, I think it needs to be Gvardiol from left back stepping up. So I feel like they just need to kind of go with a like Diaz, Ake, Akanji type of scenario, and then have Gvardiol be the man, stepping up in there. And that's not really related to Frimpong, which is what we were talking about. But that seems like a potential fix. I'm sure Pep has thought about that. I'm sure he's thought about a whole lot because he's a lot smarter than me. But it just seems like a somewhat easy fix. I should say easy, although Akanji and Ake both had a ton of fitness issues so far. But once again, Ake was fantastic against Liverpool. Why not give him some more minutes? Yeah.
Yeah.
You trust Gvardiol that much in the midfield to like push up into that midfield role?
There are signs. There are signs to to quote Dune, but I think that he's shown flashes of it. He's an alien. He's like a total absolute freak of a player. I don't know if he can do the full, like you think of like Stones versus Inter Milan, which is just like a all-time performance. He is like dancing through defenders. I don't know if Guardiola has that bag in him yet at his age. It seems like you might as well try it. What's the like? He's tried crazier things. He tried Bernardo Silva at left back, and he admitted that it was a disaster. Guardiola, he plays Guardiola as a left winger. He plays him in the Jack Grealish role. Like, maybe try to have him instead be a little bit more central. I feel like he can have the ability to maybe learn it. Stones for years was teased about going in midfield. Every now and then you would see it in like the final 20 minutes of a game, you know, against some like lower league side in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup game. I feel like maybe against who they just wrote against, was it Salford? Did they just get in the FA Cup? Yeah, try it against Salford. Put him in there. Let's see. Like, try that type of lineup. I'm not saying maybe do it against Nottingham. Maybe not the best idea, but because they're playing kind of decent this season. But it's something that they should really try.
Okay,
it's a free tip, Pep. You can call it anytime.
Let me ask you another thing that they might want to try. Would you put Jack in the midfield?
Oh yes, wholeheartedly. And I saw the quote. You know, absolutely. I think that do you remember? I like been saying his name so much in this podcast. Do you remember the Sam Lee article that was written when they signed Grealish? Maybe not. I remember it. It was this really long form article. It was one of my like favorite things that was written. One of the things that was in there was they bought him with the expectation that he could be a left-sided midfielder eventually. Maybe that was just like, you know, BS that they were just feeding to justify spending $100 million on a player that, for all intents and purposes, wasn't worth $100 million, but they had to spend that because of the release clause.
Yeah.
But he doesn't or he's instructed to not play in the same type of way that he was at Villa. But if there is someone that is on the left wing, like a Doku, someone that he could play with in tandem in that area, Doku making overlapping runs, that is literally all that we have wanted from Jack Grealish, is to have someone making overlapping runs that he can work with. This is like everything that any player would have wanted. So I know that Pep had made that comment for it. Yeah, I'm all for it. Try it. This is the time. Maybe it's not the time to try things because City might not qualify for the Champions League, but nothing's working. So like at this point, you might as well try some stuff and try it for 20 minutes, try it for 30 minutes. If it doesn't work, fine. Like, you know, do something different. But just trying to put a double pivot of like either Gundogan and Rico or Gundogan and Ronaldo isn't working. It didn't work in 1920. It's not working now. You know. Not preaching radical acceptance now. Now I'm actively not preaching radical acceptance, but yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Pep extension, 2 more years. I said it. Hey, I want to be here for the rebuild. I want to be a part of it. I want to make sure things go well after I leave, because I can see if I leave now, y'all are fucked. He didn't say that. That's basically what he said. How do you feel about the extension? It's a good thing, right?
It's absolutely a good thing. Anyone that is upset about this, I would love to have a conversation with them. I don't know how you can be upset at the idea of Pep Guardiola committing for 2 more years, not a 1-and-1, which was, originally thought that one was a little bit spookier. It's like, oh, is it really just going to be 1 year? And it's like, there's this like kind of option to like trick fans. No, it's a commitment for 2 years. It makes me feel good for a variety of ways. He must really trust Cheeky bringing in Viana as his replacement, because it's a big deal for Cheeky's the reason why he's here. Cheeky's the reason why he's here. It's the reason why he stayed. And for him to commit to 2 years past him leaving, that opens the door to a prolonged Pep future at City without Cheeky Begaristan. And I don't think that's a thing that anyone really would have thought of. It made sense when it's like they're both going to leave. I was at the title parade in Manchester, small humble brag, when the story posted that they were going to leave, which was like a real bummer to be just like celebrating a trophy win, and it's like, oh hey, it's ending in a year. 6 months later, it's actually he's going to extend another 2 years. Honestly, what's to stop him next November, international break, or in 2 years, 2 Novembers from now, from signing another one? It's now a possibility. We've seen that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Why not 12 years? Why not 15 years?
Why not? I'm here for it.
Yeah.
He could retire in Manchester. I would be very happy, man.
Yeah.
Like, so do you think that do you think it signals more that there is more talent in the academy system than we are letting on, or is this our academy talent is adequate and our player scouting, player acquisition model will put us over the top?
I mean, I think our academy system is like top notch. Unfortunately, Pep doesn't really ever play them, so they have to go and be great elsewhere. But if he has a fault, that's it. But I think it speaks to Pep's believing in the project, and maybe then more so his believing in Khaldoon. Because that's got if it's not cheeky, well, obviously it was cheeky at the beginning with, but if he trusts Khaldoon and he knows that he has that job security and he feels wanted, because if you've ever read any of the other any of the books, like Pep Confidential and stuff like that, like the pressure at Barcelona and how like the infighting in at Bayern were so frustrating for him to deal with. If he just knows that he has the support, which feels fucking shocking to say, that like you're supporting the arguably greatest manager in the history of the sport, like it's not that hard. But if he still feels that, and whether it's cheeky, whether it's with cheeky gone, if it's going to be Khaldoon that's offering it for him, I just think it means that whether it's the academy, the ability, the scouting network bringing players in, he trusts this environment more so than any other club in the world. I don't see why, until he is truly exhausted. Seems like he's just going to be here to stay until he's truly exhausted and wants to go do international football, whatever.
He can leave City and go be an executive at Girona. He could leave and go be a manager or an executive at NYCFC. Like the man has, or he can just go
options.
And be a normal human being. He could go do that, but I don't know how long.
He's not wired like that.
Yeah, I just like. He seems like someone that I think he's going to coach. I don't know if he's going to be like an Ancelotti type of situation where he's going to be that old, but he doesn't strike me as someone that can. It'd be a short sabbatical, just like it was the first time. It was 6 months and then he's in Germany. Like I don't think. Yeah, it's even. I think it's, and people have talked about it, this isn't like some grand idea from me. His kids are old now. It's not like before. It was always a family thing. It was like, oh, the family's splitting time. What is he going to do? His kids are adults now. He now really kind of can. Yeah. He's an empty nester, so he's got all the time in the world. You know what I mean? Like, what does it matter now at this point?
And I guarantee you, his wife don't want him at the house. Like, can you imagine that energy? Like, in 3 months, she'd be like, "Get out! You got to find a job."
She's in Barcelona. She's got the whole like fashion label that she's working on. She's like totally.
See? So
I'm sure they go to that Catalan restaurant in Manchester City Center. I'm sure they have some dinners there, maybe a couple times a month. But I think during the season, it's like that's not energy that I would want.
Right. She's like, you're gone traveling all the time anyway. Like, let me go have my life in Spain where the weather's nice. Okay. In your previous appearance with us, you stated how we needed to enjoy the City team because it may never get better than this. Now we seem to be there. So, like, can I blame
Dillon,
you?
tell me whether or not this is the beginning of the end.
I don't think it's the beginning of the end. I don't. I really don't. Like I in my heart of hearts, I do not think this is the beginning of the end. This is. I wrote about it in my 5 things learned piece, which should probably post tomorrow. I think the Liverpool, especially the first half, was rock bottom. That's how I feel. I'm a forever optimist. So I will just say that felt like rock bottom. That was terrible. That was right up there with the Villa performance last year. That is right up there with like the Everton performance from Pep's first season of just like truly terrible like moments. And they in the same game they were able to kind of come out of it. Personally, that makes me hopeful. That being said, if you think that this is a problem with Pep, imagine if it was literally any other manager. I cannot imagine what you would expect another manager to. Example, they don't have a striker and he just finds a solution for that and it leads to multiple Premier League titles. Like he's found himself in ridiculous situations and climbed himself out of it so many times. This time he can't get himself out of it. It's a situation partially he created. Yes. Is it partially on Cheeky? Yes. It's also a lot of it is on Rodri's ACL and the De Bruyne and Doku injuries also. However City fans are feeling right now, there's a chance that it could be like this much more often with any other manager. However you're feeling right now, this is after 4 Premier League titles in a row, which has never happened in the history of the sport, by the way. We've seen collapses at every other club. Think of how many times Arsenal have collapsed under Arteta, who's a great manager. They've fallen apart several times and has cost them titles for multiple years. We saw it a couple of times at Liverpool even. Part of it, is when Van Dijk was out injured, but Liverpool have also choked away titles and allowed City to crawl themselves back into this. We've seen this happen at other clubs. It will happen with another manager not named Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. This is going to happen. Just get used to it. And in that kind of way. Like when he leaves, remember this feeling because it's probably going to happen again and you will not realize how good we have had it. And I will keep screaming this until it is realized like this is a magical era and it will never be replicated. And I think fans are starting to lose sight of that. And I think this is Manchester City. Sure. Yes, we're amazing. We're Manchester City. This is Manchester City with Pep Guardiola. And there's going to be a post Pep Guardiola era. And I think it sometimes is going to feel a lot more like this moment than people are willing to accept.
I just want 5 in a row, though.
I want 5 in a row. I want 6 in a row. I want 7 in a row. I want 8 in a row. I want like LeBron big 3 type of energy. But
I want the energy, but I don't want the results. I want better results than that.
Hey, he won 2 titles. I'm a
oh man.
But I'm not. Just like what I'll say, like remember this feeling, and I will say the same thing again. Remember how this feels now, because if it's any other manager, they would be in the same situation, if not worse. This is how like seasons get destroyed for other clubs. Like think of like how that's happened to Liverpool. I think Liverpool missed out on Champions League, from what I remember from that. What was that 2021 season? It's crazy to think of that happen. City have not. I think they haven't missed the Champions League since 2010, 2011. It's something like that. It's like since like Obama's first, term. It's like a crazy stat.
Yeah.
Think of that type of consistency. A lot of that has also been under Pep, but like these type of seasons are what could like normally destroy an entire team's hopes. For us, we're in 5th. We're, tied with Brighton. At the absolute worst they played in 15 years.
We're kind of lucky that a lot of teams, it's just been a really weird season in the Premier League. Yeah. Liverpool, they're doing their thing, but we got Nottingham Forest in 6. Like, what's going on? Chelsea's 3rd. Like, man, I'm here for it. It's exciting. I was hoping these teams being better was gonna make it easier for us to win the title, but making it a little interesting, giving Liverpool false hope. If City somehow find a way to snatch that trophy away from Slot, like, oh my god, especially
Only
because
11 points.
all the amazing, exactly, it's still very close, but all these people having all their fun at us on Blue Sky. I'm watching you. Like, I'm on all of y'all. Like, I'm hard. I'm trying to laugh through the pain. I'm crying inside though. Luckily, y'all can't see me behind these skeets. I'm man enough to call them skeets. I am. It's also just way too funny to not call them skeets. Like,
It's hilarious.
Oh man. Okay. Well, anything else that you want to talk about, that you want to cover? Any takes that's so hot that you just need to get out of you before it burns a hole out of you?
I don't think so. I think people just need to like kind of be accepting of the situation and realize that this is not going to happen next year. That's just really how I feel. Like, this is a season from hell. It's a season from hell, and it's a thing that probably City fans will talk about for a long time. Like, remember when all of this happened? And I would not be surprised if 2 years from now, City have won back-to-back titles again, and we look back and think of how like crazy this time was.
I love it.
Or someone will clip this when City are relegated, playing in League Two, and be like, "Look at this fucking moron." And if that's the case, sure, fine, I'll take that too.
We'll be there though. We'll be there for
I will be.
day.
Yes, we'll call Paul Dickoff and Mike Summerby, and we'll go again.
Oh, well,
Pep Guardiola.
Please plug yourself. Let people know where they can find you and the things that you do.
On Twitter, on this dying platform, it's _ Dillon Meehan. On Blue Sky, it's just my name, just Dillon Meehan, whatever that. But I haven't figured out how to not make it look ugly. So mine's just if you just search my full name on Blue Sky, it should be there. Only other thing I do, it's a movie podcast called After School Cinema Club. I do it with two of my best friends. It's a writer, that's me, an actor and a director, talking about film. I like to think it's a good podcast, but it's not really up to me to decide. It's up to the audience. Go ahead and check that out if you like film. Other than that, now that's kind of all it.
Hey, love it. Well,
thank you so much for your time, Dillon. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me on. I love being on. It's been a minute.
Yeah. I think it was the two of us the last time you were on, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on, getting back in the groove of doing these, chopping it up now, just like spreading out, having more guests. So we'll definitely, if I don't hit you up in January, you hit me up.
Got you. Will do.
Okay, appreciate you. Shady Gang, we'll be back with a whole new episode. Obviously, we have our weekly episodes. We have the lit streams. The next Chopping It Up will be with our dear friend Eric Wall, and then after that we got Andre Carlisle. We got Aaron West. Like, we got some people. And then I'm still waiting back from a few other people. So yeah, we got some things coming.
Alrighty.
We're having fun over here.
Why am I here?
We making art over here, baby. We capitalize that A.
Everybody just dope. That's all that's what I tell people. If we have you on here, there's a reason why we have you on here.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And so, Shady Gang, we will see you soon. Yeah. I don't know.